Good morning and welcome to Hardin Life Live. We are the Hardins and we are a group of counselors and coaches who like to
A
spend,
family.
well, a family. Okay, we're a family. We love to spend 10 minutes with you on just hoping to give you some tips for how to live your best life. And I think what sets us apart is we take that from both a biblical and a therapeutic view. And so I have a topic for this morning.
Yes, you do. A
I
good
do.
topic.
I do. My topic, because number one, we dealt with it ourselves, but I can't tell you how many people I actually know personally who are in this situation. And that is having your adult children actually be back in the home. And it's crazy how our culture has changed. Because 30 years ago, it was a small percentage of adult children. I'm going to define that between 25 and 35 living back at home. And it's a whole different ballgame, isn't it, when you do that? So, not even counting this past year with the pandemic, because a lot of kids had to move home for college, etc. But I'm even looking at statistics back from 2019. And gang, in 2019, 1 out of 5 adult children were back in the home. So what do you think of that?
Well, I think that's certainly not the ideal, to say the least. It has all kinds of red flags and landmines around that. I would say, most of those 1 in 5 certainly did not think that that's what they would be doing at that time in their life. It's not their desire. And so it causes pause and consideration and takes some clear direction in order to not make that a habit or a norm.
And, there's lots of legitimate reasons. Some of things have shifted. The economy, the job market, that really does, set up a higher challenge for kids graduating and trying to move on. Also, because people are getting married later in life, there's this new interim period. And so you see some of the reasons it starts to happen. But the catch is, we as parents, we sort of learned how you let them learn to feed themselves and ride the bike, but we are sort of at a loss on what to do when you've got adult children in your home. How do you set rules? How do you set the finances?
Well, again, we got to kind of start at the very beginning.
Yes.
When we are privileged to be parents, from day one, from the moment of our child's birth, the goal is to raise them in a responsible way, responsible children, that they can reach a point in their life to where they can take care of themselves.
Absolutely.
And we launch them, that we're not creating dependence, but we're creating independence. And so this idea of adult children living with parents again,
it's confusing.
Hopefully it's simply a pit stop.
Right.
Not part of the normal race. I grew up not far from Bristol, Tennessee, from the Bristol racetrack. And, it's a race. It's a race. And it's normal to have pit stops in the middle of a race.
Yeah.
But it is not healthy to stay in the pit. The idea is to get back out on the racetrack and continue your journey of life. And that's what we as parents are instructed to do.
And so where that gets practical is when we do have these adult children at home, we can't lose that focus.
No.
The focus is they're here, but for them to be healthy, for them to be their own identified self, they need independence. So even when they're in the home, we're going to be thinking, how can we keep furthering independence? And what is a new twist too is that we as parents, a lot of times will err toward I want to help and I'm moved by my compassion for their stuck place, whether it's legitimate or illegitimate. And we will very much be tempted to sort of use all our resources like we did when they were little to try to make their lives better. And sometimes this becomes unhealthy. It can actually start to harm uh, an adult child when the parent is working harder than they are to get their life toward independence.
Well, it's like the mother that were coming to the end of a counseling session years ago, and she stopped me. She said, "Could I ask you one more question?" I looked at my watch and said, "Yeah, we got a couple more minutes." And she said, "Do you think it's wrong that I tie my son's shoes every morning before he goes to school?" And I said, "Well, how old's your son?" And this is a true story. And she said, "Well, he's in the 6th grade." I said, "The 6th grade?" I said, "No, no, 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 no. I'm sure he enjoys you tying his shoes. But you are creating a dependent that he will be living with you when he's 35. Not cool."
I can't even tell you how much I know that's true. It wasn't even a couple of months ago. One of the young teenagers that I was working with told me that at 15, her mom still every morning brushed her hair and curled it to go to school. Gang, that is not getting us toward independence and the real sense of owning your life. And you will create, they say, what's that saying? Anytime you do for another person what they could do for themselves, you create an emotional cripple.
Yeah.
And
so what should parents do?
Well, I think the first thing they've got to realize, there's not a black and white to this. Every child is different. Every home is different. But you've got to have a clear mindset, first of all, of what that goal is. I've got to help move them to independence.
The goal is to launch them.
Amen.
To create responsibility, not irresponsibility or dependence.
Exactly. And you need to look at the critical areas, especially if they're home. Do they have a job? Why don't they have a job? Can they may need to take a lesser job just to build up to the job they want. Are you checking on them on little things that they shouldn't be using you to self-regulate? Do you get them up in the morning? Okay, that's not good. So I want to give you what I think has been one of the most helpful tips for us in our parenting, especially as the girls were getting older. And I got it from my supervisor in counseling, of all places, when I was a new counselor. And she saw me emotionally wrapped up in caring about, I had young clients, children population. And she could see I was headed for burnout. And she said very simply, "Carla, you are not going to make it unless you start using the -1 rule with your clients."
The -1 rule. -1.
Exactly. And so I'm looking at her like, what's the -1 rule? And she said, "This is it. I will work as hard as you to get this resolved -1. Because I shouldn't even be working as hard as you because it's your life. And the last thing I should be doing is working harder than you." So I started really understanding that. It made sense to me. It's like if we take responsibility for something someone else can do, we immediately are creating dependence.
Absolutely. So again, as parents of adult children, you can ask yourself, am I working harder than they are?
Boom.
If you are, you need to fire yourself right now.
You are out of a job. Because, and here's the crazy thing that most parents do not realize. Because when parents are working so hard, I'll call all my friends to get them the job. I'll do all this while son is sleeping in, going and playing golf, daughter's getting her nails done, and yet mom's on the phone. You know, she's working it hard.
And mom is the one who is in counseling worried about son or daughter.
Yes, mom's not thinking about mom.
Mm-mm.
Mom, and all of a sudden, mom is like she's got an infant again because all her energy, time, and emotions are to son and daughter. So you've got to first look at you. and say, whoa, I'm part of the problem. And here's the secret that most parents who are over helping, I think our counseling term's enabling, that they don't know is that your child, that you are killing yourself to help get them in a better place, they're actually in our office talking about how much they resent you because they don't have confidence to run their own lives.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
a scary thing.
Yep.
Well, every situation's different, and we know this. So we're going to encourage you just to start with the simple thing of what is my goal while they're in my house, and that's independence. The second way to start navigating even chores, even the finances, any little thing that's going on, ask yourself, am I living by the -1 rule?
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think it'll get you on the right track. And I did write a little bit more about it in our blog this week. And so if you want to check out our website, www.hardinlife.com, read it and see if we may help you a little bit.
I think it will.
Well, y'all have a great week. We look forward to sitting with you again.
Have a good week. Thank you.
Bye-bye.